My boyfriend said, "I need space, don't contact me for a while." Then posted vacation photos with his ex. I changed the locks, sold the car, and moved on. 5 days later, he came back, ready to talk, but my door, and my heart, were no longer open. I, 36F, guess I should start at the beginning. It's still kind of raw, not going to lie. About 3 weeks back, my boyfriend Jake, 38M, dropped a bomb via text. We'd been together for 3 years, and he'd been practically living at my 2-bedroom condo for the past year and a half. Things felt okay, maybe a bit distant lately, but nothing that screamed crisis, or so I thought. The text came on a random Wednesday evening while I was meal prepping for the week. "Mia, things feel complicated and I really need some space to think, figure things out. Don't contact me for a while, please. I'll reach out when I'm ready." Gut punch. At 36, I've been through enough relationships to know space is rarely good news. But okay, I'm a grown woman. I can handle this maturely. I texted back, "Okay, Jake, I understand. Take the time you need. Didn't hear anything else." Radio silence, which he asked for, right? So I respected it. Moped around my condo for a couple of days, confused and hurt. Wondered what complicated meant. Work was a welcome distraction. I had 3 major campaigns launching that month as marketing director for a mid-sized tech company. Then Friday night rolls around. I'm having wine with my sister Nina, trying to distract myself, scrolling through Instagram. And there it is. A mutual friend from Jake's work had tagged him in a post. Pictures, bright sunshine, some mountain resort, craft beers, hiking gear. Jake looking ridiculously happy, arm around Tessa, 29F. His ex-girlfriend, the one he swore was ancient history when we started dating. The caption read something like, "Epic weekend getaway with my favorite adventure buddy. Some things never change." My blood ran cold. Space to think meant a romantic mountain retreat with his ex-girlfriend while asking me for no contact. The hurt morphed into something else, a cold, hard clarity. He didn't just want space, he wanted me out of the way while he test drove his old relationship, keeping me as a backup plan in my own condo, using the car I helped him get, while explicitly telling me to leave him alone. Nina took one look at my face and said, "What's wrong?" I showed her the photos. She went silent for a long moment. Then, "Oh, honey, what are you going to do?" I knew exactly what I was going to do. Saturday morning, first thing, locks, called a locksmith, changed the deadbolt and the door handle on my condo, cost about $180, worth every penny for the peace of mind. His key was now useless. The car situation requires context. About 10 months ago, Jake's ancient Subaru finally died. He needed reliable transportation for his consulting work, lots of client meetings across the state. His credit had some issues from his divorce 3 years back, so when he asked for help, I agreed. I bought a used but very decent Honda CR-V for about $24,000. Here's the crucial part. The loan, title, and insurance are all solely in my name. The understanding was he'd make monthly payments to me, $400 to cover the loan payment, insurance, and a bit toward maintenance. And it was his car to use, but legally, it was 100% mine. I never added him to the title or insurance, though he treated it like his own. Hung fuzzy dice from the mirror, kept his gym bag in the back, the whole 9 yards. I took the spare key I'd always kept and drove it to CarMax. Explained the situation briefly, needed to sell, I was the registered owner. They gave it a quick assessment, offered me $21,500 pending full inspection and paperwork processing. I agreed and signed the initial paperwork. They said it would take about a week to complete everything: inspection, title verification, final offer confirmation. I Ubered home. His designated parking spot at my condo complex, the one I pay an extra $50 monthly for, sat empty. I didn't touch his stuff yet. It was still in the guest room closet and scattered around the bathroom. Throwing it out felt petty, but he wasn't getting back into my condo without talking to me, which he'd explicitly asked not to do. I felt strangely calm, like performing necessary surgery. Hurt? Yeah, deep down. I felt like a complete fool. But anger wasn't the main driver, it was logic. He asked for space and no contact. He demonstrated our relationship was over by mountain retreating with his ex. I was simply respecting his request and protecting my assets. The condo is mine. I'd bought it 2 years before meeting Jake with money from my previous job's stock options and a solid down payment. My mortgage is $2,800 monthly, manageable on my marketing director salary. Jake had been contributing $600 toward utilities and groceries, but nothing toward the mortgage itself. My name on the deed, my credit on the loan. Now I wait. According to Instagram, this adventure buddy trip was supposed to last 5 days. They'd posted an itinerary story showing hiking plans through Wednesday. Let's see what happens when he gets back Thursday and his key doesn't work. My phone buzzed with a text from Nina. "How are you holding up? Better than expected," I replied. Actually feeling kind of empowered. Good. He doesn't deserve you. Want me to come over Sunday? That would be great. I spent the weekend deep cleaning the condo, reorganizing spaces that had accumulated Jake's stuff over the months. Found his coffee mug collection in my kitchen cabinet. When had that happened? His workout supplements taking up half my bathroom counter. His charging cables everywhere. It was like archaeologically uncovering how much of my space he'd gradually claimed without my really noticing. The guest room where he kept his work clothes. The corner of my living room where he'd set up his gaming chair. Even my Netflix account was cluttered with his action movie preferences. Sunday evening, Nina came over with Thai takeout and moral support. "You seem different," she observed, settling on my couch with her pad thai. "Calmer than I expected." "I think I'm just tired of being taken for granted," I said. 3 years, Nina. 3 years of him treating my place like his personal hotel while keeping his own apartment for work purposes. Never talking about moving in officially. Never contributing to anything substantial. But you loved him. I did. Maybe I still do, but that doesn't mean I have to accept this level of disrespect. She nodded. Mom would be proud of you. Our mother had raised Nina and me as a single parent after our father left when I was 12. Her biggest lesson, never let anyone make you feel small in your own life. Monday came and went. Tuesday dragged by. I kept checking my phone, expecting some kind of contact. Nothing. Wednesday evening, I was reviewing campaign metrics when CarMax called. Inspection complete, final offer confirmed at $21,500. All paperwork ready for signature. "Can I complete this tomorrow?" I asked. "Absolutely. Bring your ID and we'll have a check ready." Perfect timing. Thursday evening around 7 p.m. I was reviewing quarterly budget reports when I heard it. Keys jangling outside my door, then the scrape of metal in the lock. Silence. More scraping, frantic now. Then pounding. Knock, knock, knock. "Mia, what's going on? Open the door!" Jake's voice, annoyed, not panicked yet. I took a deep breath, walked to the door, opened it with the chain still on. He was standing there with his duffel bag and a small backpack, looking tan and confused. His hair was still messy from whatever outdoor activities they'd been doing. "My key isn't working. Did something happen to the lock?" "No," I said, voice level. "I changed them." He blinked. "You what? Why would you do that?" "You asked for space and no contact, Jake. I gave it to you permanently." "What are you talking about? I just needed some time to think. You can't just lock me out." "I saw the mountain retreat photos with Tessa. Looks like you figured things out." His face went from annoyed to furious with a flash of panic. "Mia, that was just... we're friends. It didn't mean anything." I raised an eyebrow. Friends who go on romantic getaways while asking their girlfriend for space and no contact. Got it. "Don't be ridiculous. Let me in. Where's my car?" His eyes darted to the empty parking spot, the one that had held his Honda CR-V for almost a year. The entitlement was radiating off him, the sheer assumption that everything would just be waiting for him after his little adventure. "First, it's my condo," I said calmly. "Second, it was never your car. It's my car, legally in my name, and I sold it. CarMax has it now." His jaw dropped. "You sold it? You can't do that." I made payments on that car. You made payments to me toward using it, Jake. $400 a month, which didn't even cover the full loan payment, insurance, and maintenance costs. You didn't buy it. The title and loan are in my name. The sale is final. This is insane. You're stealing from me. I'm calling the cops. He actually pulled out his phone. I shrugged. Go ahead. Explain to them that your ex-girlfriend changed the locks on her own condo after you asked for no contact and went on a romantic retreat with your ex. Explain that she sold her own car that's titled and registered solely in her name. Let me know how that goes. He hesitated, phone halfway to his ear. I could see him processing the legal reality of his situation. Then his expression turned venomous. You're a horrible person, Mia. You planned this. You planned a mountain getaway with your ex and asked me for silence. I respected your wishes and dealt with the consequences. You don't get to keep me on standby in my own home. Suddenly, another voice. Nina, my sister, must have been waiting in the parking garage. I'd texted her when I heard him at the door. What's going on? Nina asked, walking up the hallway with deliberate calm. Jake immediately turned on the waterworks for her. She changed the locks. She sold my car. She's throwing me out. Nina looked at him coldly. After you went on vacation with Tessa, I saw the photos too, Jake. Mia showed me. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I interrupted. You made your choice. Now live with it. Jake started demanding his stuff right then, at 7 p.m. on a Thursday night. Not happening tonight, I said firmly. Text me a date and time this week. I'll have your belongings boxed up by the door. You won't be coming inside further than the entryway. You can't dictate. I can. My condo, my rules. You wanted no contact. This is the new contact arrangement. Text me when you want your stuff. I closed the door and locked the deadbolt. My hands were shaking slightly. Adrenaline, anger, residual hurt. But mostly relief. The confrontation was over. I heard them outside for another 15 minutes. Jake arguing, Nina probably telling him exactly what she thought of his space excuse. Then they left. A couple hours later, I got a text from Jake's phone. I need my things tomorrow at 5 p.m. Be ready. No, please. No, thank you. Just demands. I replied, Saturday at 10 a.m. works better. Everything will be by the door. Friday morning, CarMax called to confirm the sale completion. I went down during my lunch break, signed the final papers, walked out with a check for $21,500. Deposited it immediately into my savings account. Friday evening, I spent 3 hours methodically boxing up Jake's belongings, clothes from the guest room closet, toiletries from my bathroom, his coffee mugs, workout supplements, charging cables, gaming headset, the fuzzy dice from the car's rearview mirror that CarMax had returned to me. It was cathartic, actually, like exercising a presence that had gradually taken over my space. I found things I'd forgotten about, a watch he'd left on my nightstand months ago, protein powder shoved behind my good dishes, his backup contact solution taking up space in my medicine cabinet. Everything went into boxes labeled with black Sharpie. Jake, clothes, Jake, electronics, Jake, my ski. Professional and impersonal. Saturday at 10 a.m. Sharp, knock at the door, not Jake, his sister Kelly and their mom Patricia. Jake was waiting in Kelly's car, apparently too emotional to face me. Patricia immediately launched into it, tears already forming in her eyes. Mia, how could you do this? He loves you. Apparently not enough to avoid mountain retreats with his ex while asking me for space. It was a mistake. He was confused. You should forgive him. And selling his car, that was cruel. It was my car, Patricia. Legally mine. And his confusion led him to betray our relationship. Actions have consequences. I opened the door wider, showing the neat stack of boxes I'd arranged by the entrance. Here are his belongings. Take them all. This is the only chance. Patricia started to push past me. We need to check the bedroom. Make sure you didn't miss anything. Nope. I blocked the doorway firmly. You can take what's here. I packed everything I could find. You're not coming into my condo. Kelly, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Be reasonable, Mia. What if you missed something important? Then it's unfortunate. This is what's available. They clearly wanted to argue more, maybe find something valuable they could claim I was keeping. Not happening. They muttered complaints, but started taking the boxes. Patricia kept up a monologue about how heartless I was, how Jake was devastated, how I owed him compensation for his investment in the car. I just repeated, it was my car, and my condo, my rules, like mantras, until they finished loading everything into Kelly's SUV. The last box contained the fuzzy dice and his favorite travel mug. Somehow, that felt symbolic. Once they left with the boxes, the real campaign began. Jake started alternating between tearful texts, "I miss you," "I made a huge mistake, please take me back," and furious demands, "You owe me money for that car, I'll take you to small claims." I ignored the emotional manipulation. For the legal threats, I sent one response. "Jake, the car was legally mine. Title, loan, insurance all in my name. Your payments were toward usage. Consider it rent for the time you drove it. No further discussion." Then I blocked his number, blocked Kelly, blocked Patricia. But it didn't stop there. Suddenly, mutual friends started reaching out. People from his consulting network, our old couple's friends from the few social events we'd attended together. "Heard what happened with Jake. Pretty harsh selling his car like that. He's really devastated. Maybe you overreacted? 3 years together and you just kicked him out? That's cold, Mia." Jake was clearly spinning a story, painting himself as the victim who got randomly kicked out and had his car stolen. Conveniently leaving out the Tessa vacation part, I'm sure. I briefly explained the situation to a few people I thought might be reasonable. The space text, the mountain photos, the car legally being mine. Mixed results. Some got it immediately and were actually supportive. "Good for you," said Jennifer from my old marketing team. "He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. You don't owe him a backup plan." But others had clearly bought his narrative completely, or thought I should be more forgiving, regardless of what he'd done. Fine. People believe what they want to believe. At 36, I'm done trying to convince anyone of my version of events. Then came the really low blow. My property management company called on a Tuesday afternoon. "Ms. Phillips, we've received a complaint about domestic disturbances and loud arguments coming from your unit. There are concerns about confrontations and potential safety issues." My stomach dropped. This felt calculated, trying to get me in trouble with my lease. Thankfully, I have a decent relationship with the building manager, Karen, different Karen than Jake's mom. I explained calmly, my ex-boyfriend, who is staying here but not on the lease, recently moved out after our breakup. There was one brief argument outside my door when he discovered I'd changed the locks. His family came by once for a supervised pickup of his belongings. There have been no disturbances inside my unit, and he no longer has access to the building. Karen seemed to understand and said they'd note it down, but unless there were ongoing verifiable complaints or actual disturbances, it was just a file note. "These things happen during breakups," she said sympathetically. "Just keep us informed if there are any escalations." I was pretty sure it was Jake or his family trying to cause problems for me. Really classy move. I also got a LinkedIn message request from Tessa. That one, I didn't even hesitate. Declined and blocked immediately. Don't need to hear from the other party in this triangle, thank you very much. My work friends were incredibly supportive when I mentioned the situation during our weekly team lunch. "Wait, he asked for space and then immediately went on vacation with his ex?" said Marcus, our creative director. "That's not space, that's audition." "And then he had the nerve to demand his stuff immediately," added Lisa from our PR team. "Boy, bye." It felt good to have my professional circle validate what I was feeling, that this wasn't normal relationship drama, this was calculated betrayal. 3 weeks after the confrontation, I got a letter from some budget lawyer Jake must have scraped money together to hire. It demanded $8,000 for his contributions to the vehicle, plus emotional distress compensation. The letter was full of typos and legal-sounding nonsense that didn't actually mean anything. I'd already consulted with a family law attorney after the property management incident just to be safe. Rebecca Parker, highly recommended, $300 consultation fee, money well spent. I brought her the demand letter. She read it and actually laughed. "This is garbage," she said. "You have clear title, loan documentation, insurance records. He has no legal standing whatsoever. But let me send them a response that makes that crystal clear." Her response was a thing of beauty. It included copies of the car title, loan agreement, insurance policy, all in my name only. Documentation that his 400 monthly payments were toward usage depreciation, not ownership. A copy of his original, "I need space, don't contact me" text, screenshots of the Tessa vacation photos with timestamps, a warning that further unsubstantiated claims or harassment would result in us seeking legal fees and filing for a restraining order based on his previous attempts to cause issues with my housing situation. Total cost, $800 for Rebecca to draft and send the response. Worth every penny. Total silence after that. His budget lawyer probably told him he had no case and dropped him as a client immediately. Meanwhile, life was moving forward. I was sleeping better than I had in months. The condo felt like mine again. Spacious, peaceful, organized the way I liked it. I'd forgotten how much mental energy it takes to accommodate someone else's habits and preferences in your space. I converted the guest room where Jake had kept his work clothes into a proper home office. Bought a standing desk, good lighting, plants for the windowsill. With more people working remotely post-pandemic, having a professional home office setup was becoming essential for my marketing role. The empty parking space got filled too. I'd been thinking about getting a second car for weekend trips, maybe something fun for myself. Started researching options, maybe a small SUV for camping and hiking. Something that would be 100% mine from day one. Nina came over for dinner one evening, surveying my newly reorganized living space. "You seem different," she observed, settling on the couch I'd rearranged to face the windows instead of the TV. "Lighter." "I think I'd forgotten what it felt like to have my space be completely mine," I said. "No compromising on furniture placement, no one else's stuff cluttering up my surfaces, no having to consider anyone else's preferences for what we watch or eat, or how loud I play music." "Do you miss him?" "Sometimes. I miss some of the good parts, but I don't miss walking on eggshells or feeling like I was constantly accommodating someone who wasn't accommodating me back." "Good. You deserve better than that." She was right. At 36, with a solid career, my own property, and financial independence, I didn't need to settle for someone who saw me as a convenience rather than a priority. It's been about 2 months since Jake got back from his space-seeking mountain adventure with Tessa. Things have settled into a new normal, and honestly, I've never felt better. The smear campaign eventually died down. I did lose a few acquaintances who bought Jake's victim story without hearing my side. Good riddance. Anyone who takes his word without question isn't someone I need in my life anyway. My real friends, the ones who knew me before Jake, were completely supportive. Several of my work colleagues said they would have done the exact same thing. "You don't get to have your cake and eat it too," Jennifer had said over lunch. "He wanted to explore other options while keeping you as backup? Hell no." Through the grapevine, a friend who's still connected to Jake's consulting network, I heard what happened next. It was even more satisfying than I'd hoped. Jake crashed at Kelly's place initially, which created massive friction because he expected to be supported indefinitely while contributing nothing. Kelly's husband finally put his foot down after 3 weeks of Jake camping on their couch, eating their food, and complaining about how unfair his situation was. Tessa, predictably, vanished once the mountain high wore off and reality set in. Turns out she wasn't interested in actually dating Jake again or dealing with all his drama. She got her adventure weekend and disappeared back to her own life in Portland. According to my source, she's been posting photos with a new boyfriend since mid-month. Jake apparently tried guilt-tripping his parents for money, with some limited success, but they couldn't bankroll his previous lifestyle indefinitely. He had to get a studio apartment across town and finance a used Honda Civic, a significant downgrade from the CR-V he'd been driving. Last I heard, he's been complaining constantly about how unfair everything is and how I ruined his life. Zero self-awareness, zero accountability, just pure entitlement and victim mentality. The best part? The complete silence. No more demands, no more drama, no more Jake. My condo feels like mine again. Spacious, peaceful, organized exactly how I like it. I finished the home office conversion last month. Standing desk, ergonomic chair, good lighting, plants for the windowsill. It's become my favorite space in the condo. Having a dedicated workspace has actually boosted my productivity enough that my boss mentioned it during my quarterly review. Your campaign metrics have been exceptional this quarter, Mia. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. If only she knew the campaign I was really running was reclaiming my own life. The parking space situation resolved beautifully, too. After researching for weeks, I bought myself a Subaru Outback, perfect for weekend hiking trips and camping adventures I'd been putting off for years. Paid cash with money from my emergency fund and the CRV sale. Title, registration, insurance, all mine, no complications. The first solo camping trip was incredible. Drove up to Mount Hood, hiked for 3 days, cooked over a camp stove, read books without interruption. No one asking when I'd be back. No one texting me complaints about being bored at home. No one making me feel guilty for wanting solo time. I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed my own company. Nina and I had dinner last weekend, and she noticed the change immediately. "You seem like yourself again," she said, helping me arrange flowers I'd bought just because I wanted fresh flowers in my living room. "Remember when you used to do things like this all the time?" She was right. During the Jake years, I'd gradually stopped doing small things that brought me joy. Fresh flowers felt wasteful. Solo trips were selfish. Rearranging furniture was unnecessary if it disrupted his gaming setup. I'd been slowly erasing myself to accommodate someone who, as it turned out, was perfectly willing to erase me completely when something more appealing came along. "Do you think you'll start dating again soon?" Nina asked. "Eventually, but I'm in no rush. I'm enjoying rediscovering what I actually want without having to factor in someone else's preferences. And that's the truth. At 36, with a solid career, my own property, and hard-won clarity about my boundaries, I'm not interested in settling for less than I deserve. I've been thinking a lot about what this whole experience taught me. The betrayal hurt, obviously, but the aftermath taught me something more valuable. I'm completely capable of handling my own life, protecting my own interests, and thriving independently. When Jake asked for space, he probably expected me to wait anxiously for his return, maybe fight for his attention, definitely keep his comfortable setup intact while he figured out his feelings. Instead, I gave him exactly what he asked for: infinite space, and used the time to remember who I was before I started accommodating his presence in every corner of my life. The revenge wasn't loud or explosive. It was quiet and methodical. It was simply protecting myself and my assets while giving him precisely what he requested. That empty parking spot when he came back from his mountain adventure? Chef's kiss. The look on his face when he realized his key didn't work? Priceless. He didn't just lose a girlfriend, he lost the comfortable life he'd assumed was his right, funded by my resources and generosity. Some people might think I was too harsh, that I should have been more understanding, more forgiving. But here's what I learned. When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them the first time. Jake showed me he was someone who would deceive me, use me as backup, and prioritize his own desires over our relationship. I chose to believe him and act accordingly. The dating world is different at 36, but so am I. I'm more confident in my standards, more protective of my peace, more aware of red flags. The next person who wants to be in my life will need to earn it properly, and they'll need to respect what I've built. My condo, my car, my career, my peace of mind, all mine again. And this time, I'm being much more careful about who gets access to any of it. I'm planning a month-long solo road trip this summer, something I'd always wanted to do but never felt free to pursue. Pacific Coast Highway, camping in national parks, photography workshops in small towns. All decisions mine, all timing mine, all experiences mine. Jake wanted space to figure things out. Well, he figured out exactly what life looks like without me in it. And judging by the reports I'm getting, that reality is significantly less comfortable than he expected. Actions have consequences, and sometimes the best response to betrayal is simply letting someone experience the full weight of their choices without your support to cushion the fall. Next time someone asks me for space, I'll be happy to give them all the space in the world, permanently, because I've learned that my own space, filled with my own choices and my own peace, is pretty incredible,